And a very good Sunday morning to you. It is September the 9th, 2012, 9:49 the time. The final segment of our Compass Hour show. The word this hour is sea, S-E-A. And when you think of the sea, you think of beaches for sure. And some of our beaches here in California can get kind of nasty with trash and stuff that washes up that we had nothing to do with.
Right. It isn't necessarily that people who visit the beach are being litter bugs. It's what's coming to our beaches.
And it can come from a couple of different directions. It can wash there down a storm drain when people are, cleaning out their driveway or something.
The runoff.
The runoff goes into those. You see those stamps that are right above storm drains that say this leads to the ocean.
Think about what you're throwing away.
Right. And then also, we were just talking during the commercial break, you had the giant tsunami that happened in Japan more than a year ago.
Right.
We're just now starting to see some of that trash wash up, right?
Yeah, and I'm wondering, too, if this is also hearkening back to the Indonesian tsunami. We'll find out from our expert.
We will. In fact, our expert is Heather Cooley with the Pacific... is Kylie Singh. I'm on the wrong one here. Kylie Singh from EcoSlow here in San Luis Obispo, one of many organizations throughout the state of California who are putting together a wide variety of events for cleaning up our beaches. And it's not just the beaches that happen to be located at the ocean either, right, Kylie?
No, all over the waterways. There's 53 counties throughout California that are hosting California Cleanup, coastal cleanup. And so that means we're going all up into Mono County, Siskiyou County. I mean, it's all over California now.
And there's one specific day, correct, that's considered California Coastal Cleanup Day, but the events are spread out a little bit?
Yes, September 15th this year is Coastal Cleanup Day, and that actually is an international event. And then California Coastal Commission hosts Coast Week. So if you can't make it out this Saturday, you can help out on Coast Week however you would like. And it's a great way to get involved on your coast. There's all kinds of activities. There's yacht club activities. There's kayak activities. There's invasive removal activities. There's so many great activities.
And so when we're out there cleaning up, the volunteers, what can we expect? What are we picking up? What are we seeing?
Well, I have a great list. I mean, last year we had 35% of the debris removed was cigarette butts.
35%. That many people are still smoking in California?
Yes, and on our beaches, even though it's illegal.
Right. Wow.
So it's interesting. But you have to remember that it's not necessarily people smoking on our beaches. It's people smoking on the streets and washing into the beaches.
Or throwing it out their car window, or stepping on it on the
Right.
sidewalk. And I see it all the time, and I think, how is that not littering?
Right.
They're
Right.
doing it.
Right. Like you said, all drains lead to the ocean. So.
Yeah. And so 35%. What's the second most common item found?
The second most common is food wrappers, which actually leads us to the reason why Coast Commission is really trying to push this BYO campaign. Bring your own. So trying to make coastal cleanup the most eco-groovy event as possible. So bringing a non-wasteful lunch, packing your stuff in a Tupperware, bringing your clean canteen.
Yeah.
And
we're showing them to the cameras if you're watching if you're watching us online.
And one of the most important things to bring on the day of the event is a bucket or some type of reusable bag, so that as you're cleaning up trash, you can dump that bucket into a bigger trash bag. So we're eliminating the plastic bags as well.
We have a picture on our stream that we got from the California Coastal Cleanup 2011 site, and it showed on, I think it's the Kern River or something right outside of Fresno, these guys in a boat with giant tires that they,
Yes.
so someone just thought it was a good idea to go ahead and throw tires in the river, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing the things you find in the creeks. My good friend works here, and he's a fish biologist who works on San Luis Obispo County creeks, and he finds bicycles, he finds irrigation pipeline, he finds all sorts of things you would never imagine. So it's really interesting.
Is this something that you need to sign up in advance and fill out paperwork, or is it something where you can just show up day of?
We like both of it. We love to have your information ahead of time so we can send you reminders. Every county throughout California has a coordinator. I'm here for SLO County, and then up in Santa Cruz and Monterey counties, we have Save Our Shores. It's a combined effort. And so the best thing to do is contact your coordinator via website or give them a phone call, and go ahead and sign up ahead of time, and they can remind you to bring your own, or just show up. If you want to just show up, we'll get all your information that day.
So it's BYOB, bring your own bucket.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I was watching a couple of years ago one of the coastal cleanups that I was actually up near Los Gatos, and they were more inland, not at the coast. And one of the workers was collecting, and they had like a safety vest on, and he was shoving it inside his vest so that he didn't use a plastic bag. And then he was going to the receptacle and then taking it all out of his vest and putting it in there. I thought, well, that is dedication.
I would imagine that there is a bit of concern over some of the items that might get picked up, like used medical waste and needles and such.
You know, well, this year is especially important to remember if you do see something that might be potentially brought over from Japan, to stay away from them. There's certain things you do have to take caution with. The medical waste we don't see as much on the beaches, but more so in the creeks.
Okay.
But the tsunami debris is something that we're really trying to focus on this year as well. California is trying to create a baseline of what we have and what we're going to see in the coming months. So Coast Commission has actually created a data card. We use a data card every year no matter what to collect information of what's on the beaches and in our waterways. But this year we'll really have a separate data card that looks at what could potentially be from Japan.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which is, yeah.
To track a bit of that.
And you were saying even into the future, you're expecting more in the next year.
Right. It's actually interesting because scientists were predicting that it wouldn't be coming until mid-2013, but they weren't focusing in on the winds that were going to carry a lot of this debris across.
Oh, okay.
And places like Oregon and Washington have seen huge chunks of debris. I believe a Harley-Davidson motorcycle washed up in Canada, and a whole dock washed up in Oregon. So, and the dock is a really scary thing because that brings over invasive species. So it's another thing we have to think about.
Wow.
Right.
Now, what about the previous Indonesian tsunami? I know there was debris from that for quite a while. Has that dissipated, or is that still a concern?
You know, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if the currents would have even brought debris over to California. That's something I'm not positive on.
Now, a lot of people would think, how on earth does a Harley Davidson float?
Right.
But it was in a container, if I remember correctly.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Wow.
So someone had, kept their Harley in a container, and then when the waves came,
My
it
goodness.
lifted that. Right. And not everything does float. And that's why off our coast, we have what is known as the plastic, what's
The
that?
gyre.
Yes, the garbage patch.
Garbage patch, yes.
Yeah, and it's by some measures a lot larger than what we even thought, and what we
Right.
thought was outrageous.
Right. It's miles and miles long. Supposedly, it's the size of the state of Texas, but it's actually deeper, and they don't realize how deep it goes.
How deep it goes,
It's
just with
scary.
all levels of plastic and such. Well, you can get out there and help with this year's California Coastal Cleanup. Lots of opportunities wherever you live, and we have a link online. Makes it very easy to choose your county and choose your task. So, Kylie Singh with EcoSlow, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
And as always, thank you for listening. We'll be back here next week with a lot more. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore.